Right, hello there everyone, welcome back to James Redmond TV. As always, lateness is greatness. If you do not watch this live, then you won't know what that means, because at the end of the day, it's just the live viewers that they're always putting in the chat, lateness is greatness. Oh, he acts like Aubameyang, because Aubameyang was late to training. So stop, listen, I apologise. But at the same time, no, you want people to gather, you want people to group, we want the Redmond army to assemble for what is the LFC Talk Show. But shout out to everyone though, man. Shout out to Jason, obviously calling me out, I'm rightly so, you should do. If you subscribe to this channel, you've got that right. So I appreciate everyone who does. So shout out to Reece, shout out to Louis. Where you are, James? Everyone's like, where are you? I apologise. We're here now though, and we've got some belter shit to talk about. I'm here with the boys. Man like Darren Whelan. How are we, my friend? How are we, my friend? Proper order, yeah. Proper order. My favourite Irish person.
Up the Irish, yeah. No, all good in the hood, brother. No hassle in the castle. And as they say, no trouble in the bubble. Yeah, no, looking forward to tonight. Is always a pleasure, James and Conroy. So, yeah, let's get on.
All I'm saying, right, Conroy, yeah, and obviously everyone, say wagwan to Conroy. How are we, brother? You're all right yourself?
Good, mate, good, mate. I'm just thinking of Darren there because I was in Morrison's the other day and someone said they've got proper 12 on sale, and I'm not even joking. So we need to get a bottle each. We need to get a bottle.
We need to get a bottle each for one show. Do you know what we need to do? We need to do it for a good occasion. So if we win a game, or say if we beat Real Madrid,
win a game, score a goal.
Yeah. I'll be like, boys, jump in this watch along, and we'll all just have a shot.
If we score a corner, right?
Our corner.
Oh my God, boys! If we get to the Champions League final, we're all doing the watch along, right? We're all gonna do it, and not only that, right? We're gonna.
And then you realise we don't drink whiskey, James, and then half an hour.
Oh, it doesn't matter if you do that day. It doesn't matter you do that day. I don't care. Do you know Callum? The way he doesn't drink or smoke. Listen, there's an exception. And that exception would be if we were able to lift that damn Champions League trophy for the 7th time.
Definitely.
So, do you hear what I'm saying, boys? So it's one of them things where people, if we do win in Istanbul, just expect absolute seeds, because it's going to be fucking crazy. Carnage, my friends, carnage.
It would also be quite mental as well, because it'd be something like the league's different, but see the Champions League final, see everyone being no fans for that. That would be quite a crazy feeling as well, wouldn't it? Because everyone would be indoors, so everyone would just go mental.
I know.
Yeah. It'd be crazy.
By the way, people, I just wanted to mention that Nick will be jumping into this stream in probably about 20 minutes, you know what I mean? But don't worry, because I know people love man like Nick, do you know what I mean?
Lateness is greatness.
Lateness is greatness, and not only that, if you love him, subscribe to his channel, Saint LFC TV. Marvellous content.
He's flying through the subscribers now. He's over 300,
he's on 300 subscribers.
He's getting a bit greedy now, though. He needs to calm down a little bit. He's getting a bit too...
Oh, yeah, he's getting too many, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
everyone's going over there. Listen, rightly so. I love it. I love Nick, man, you know what I mean? He's a top man. But he's fucking hell, Xabi Alonso is our manager. Well, as of next season, if you didn't know.
Mid-table, Bundesliga, good challenge for him, good start, and obviously wishing the best of luck. Terrific player. If he's half the manager as he has been as a player, he's gonna smash it.
That's not always the case though, Darren. It's an interesting one, because I think
it's a very interesting.
Out, but But I spoke to Monts earlier. Yeah, Monts earlier made a good point. He says, and I've said it loads of times, I go on a bit on Henry all the time. Amazing player, bang average if you're a lucky manager. That's me being kind to call Henry a bang average manager. So a lot of great players are terrible managers, or maybe just
so just average.
Shout out to Ben. Ben.
Big up, mate.
No, because that means however long this show goes on for, Ben will always be like an OG of the show. He will always know that. He'll always know the inside joke that only very few people know about.
Big up to Ben, but genuinely, right? I watched their video the other day, and you look at the comments, right? And this person, I apologize, I forgot their name, but he listens all the time. He went, Conroy's prison mic mug is legendary. So I've got all the US office mugs, right? So I've got Dunder Mifflin tonight, and so that comment genuinely, mate, if you're listening, that made my week because I was having a bit of stressful week, and I saw that comment and I was like, the fact that you appreciate that mug made my week. So shout out to you, mate.
Yes, we love it.
Brilliant.
Nah, this show, everyone who watches this show and interacts in the chat, just know it makes it well better. Shout out to Ryan LFC as well. Go subscribe to Ryan LFC if you haven't. Great channel, great content. Just a top fella, mate. Honestly, I love everyone who comes onto these streams. Makes it well better. Nah, boys, I think Xabi Alonso. Do you know what me tell you my view on it? I think it's one of them where obviously can it go wrong? Of course it can. But let's just go off the study, the case study that we've got so far. My man Xabi Alonso currently manages the B team of Real Sociedad.
Yeah.
And how long has he done that for? Has he done that for a couple of seasons?
47 games, James. So
47 games. All right then.
Just
so
over
decent experience. What did Steven Gerrard have? And again, wrong to make these comparisons, but again, I'm going to go off another manager who's very recent and has had a very similar path in terms of Gerrard started not a professional club, not at a very top level at least. He started with our B team. He started with the under 18s, weren't it?
Under 18s, yeah. Because it changed to under 23s, yeah. So it was
yeah. So there we go then. So when you've got Steven Gerrard who's done that, then he went to Rangers, not a big club. Because let's even use Frank Lampard as a case.
I would say they are big in the sense of a global club. They're big, but in the sense of the standard of the league, and I would say you're probably right. Yeah. But there'll be a lot of folk who would say Rangers are a big club. I'm just saying because I live in Scotland.
Yeah, please do not allow Rangers. I wanted you to win the Europa League. I just want you to know that massive club, huge club. Oh my God, the resurgence is massive. That being said, what I mean is the league in foreign leagues and whatnot, like in foreign countries, it isn't as respected. You know, they'll look at Steve. Like no one in Spain is going to be thinking Steven Gerrard's world class. They're just not really. Like let's be honest. Like we respect it. We know how it is because it's closer to home. But Steven, you know, if you ask some Spanish person,
James, like Gerrard's. Yeah, it's embraced. It's made Scottish football like that's been good for Scottish football because I said earlier, like Gerrard, for example.
He's an icon, isn't he?
But see, aura-wise, right? If Gerrard walks into Scotland, right, he's going to be the biggest name in most leagues anyway, but especially at Scotland because he's going to be able. So therefore, he has that aura as he immediately walks in. You're not going to get that in every league in the world because if we went to Germany, I mean, Gerrard's a legend, but there's loads of legendary players who go to Germany.
That's what I was going to say. Yeah, so. Do you know what I want to just finish off on my point though, Conroy? It was like, do you know even like Frank Lampard, for example, he went to Derby. He had a mediocre face. You can't say he was brilliant. You can't say that was a fan. He never got promoted, and that's what Derby wanted that season. They wanted to get promotion, didn't do that. So then he moves to Chelsea after the season where he didn't overachieve, didn't massively underachieve, but didn't really smash it like the way Gerrard smashed it at Rangers. Like my man Gerrard's undefeated in the league. I don't care what league it is. He weren't expected to do that, so he's overachieved. Now, when you look at it from Frank Lampard's point of view, he failed at Chelsea. Gerrard's doing well at Rangers because he took that time. Xabi Alonso has took that time, and he's going to a club.
Great point.
Do you get what I'm saying? And like Xabi Alonso, he's gone to a club. He's not to fucking mention that he's played for some of the best clubs in the world. So he's got that experience, just like Gerrard worked under some fantastic.
He's calmed down a bit, James. He's not straight away. He's calm. He built himself time to build it. Yeah, his identity as a manager. He's
not even jumping right into it this season, which again I like. You don't need to start midway through the season. You're not that desperate. Go next season, and that's what he's done. So I think this could be a good move, just based on what we've seen so far. Good players don't always become good managers. Facts. But what I will say is that even though they don't always become good managers, let's have a look at the select few who have, and he's gone through a similar path, worked through some good managers, some good teams. Therefore, I think he can do well.
I think you're right, James, and I think on that to add, because I know it's a Liverpool channel, but shout out to John. See who I think will be good a manager due to his intelligence and the way he knows the game. See Lampard. See if Lampard had stayed at Derby, I think he'd made mistakes a bit like Gerrard done at Rangers. Got time to make mistakes. He was never going to get the time at Chelsea. I feel like Lampard. A lot of people would probably say he will become a good manager. I think he will, Lampard. I think you can just tell, and he's quite an intelligent person, a bit like Alonso. I think I see similarities in that sense, and people might disagree with me, but I feel like I don't usually jump on the former players being good managers, but there's just something about Alonso, how he didn't jump in. He went to the Madrid got his youth academy coaching there, then went to Sociedad B, and that's 47 games, mate. So that's not like staying there for 3 months and then moving
into
the first job.
That's a solid season.
And he's allowing himself to make mistakes. Also, especially in the Spanish team, you're building that style you want, because everyone just assumes and he might be tiki-taka, he might be a mixture, because when he was at Madrid it was more passing but then breaking the lines as well. So I think it'll be. I think it's a 4-2-3-1 he plays. I checked that before I came on today. So I think it'll be a good. Yeah. It'll give him a chance to know what he wants. And you could argue, see, when Lampard was at Derby, he'd done a lot in a quick time. I know they never got up, but they were playing good football. And then that's why I worry about Gerrard. Is like, just keep progressing. Don't jump the gun with Liverpool, because that's the prime example what Chelsea done, and I feel like
just don't do it. Just don't do that to yourself, because you don't need to. Like, that's the thing. Like, you are doing a great job. You're just doing this. You don't need to jump a barrier that just isn't necessary.
You're just not going to get the time, eh? You're not going to get time.
Like, people take different paths, and I actually think Lampard, to an extent, was an okay manager, not a good manager. I don't think he was.
No, I think he will be a good manager. That's what I think. I don't think he is a good manager.
He was a bit naive at Chelsea, wasn't he? He'd only come in, but
that comes with a young player. That comes with a young manager. Comes with a young football human.
Rangers lost 1-0 at Hamilton last season, who were second bottom in the league. You know what I mean? So it's not like Gerrard's not made mistakes, but there's a difference between someone who gives you time. I think Mönchengladbach will give Alonso time. So I think that's why.
Well, they will. He's going into a club that's mid-table in Bundesliga. He speaks 4 different languages. He's fluent in German, which is going to help massively, obviously, managing in the German league. And as you said, Conway, it was a good point you touched on. He's played different styles of football, physical, ticky-tacky, and he's going to come here with his different approach. He's a gentleman. He's a real cool, smooth operator, isn't he, really? So he'll do it his own way, and he's built up a lot of experience. He'll obviously... I'd imagine he'd be the type of manager, be very shrewd in his transfer business. There's a lot of contacts in the game through different agents and players. So, and a lot of people will want to play with Alonso, the type of just player that he was. But he's a legend, absolute legend of the game. Won World Cup, European Championships, Champions League. Played for some of the biggest clubs domestically around Europe. So, if he can, as I said, if he can be half of the manager as he was player, he'll be fantastic. So we always say, look, great players mightn't work out, but there might be something different with Alonso, and hopefully because he
it's like
deserves
something different that Gerrard, and even to an extent Lampard had, on what you're touching on there, Darren. They both had an element of respect, and when I bring up Lampard, I mean, from them young players, mate, he got mad respect from them young players that first season. You can give that to him. The second season he couldn't make it click, but that first season he had them overachieving, many was saying. So when you put it in that perspective, because they've won everything. Xabi Alonso has won fucking everything. He's won the Bundesliga.
He's won more.
He's won the Bundesliga. Yeah, he's won more. You look at them two, and they've won everything. But mate, he's won. He's done it at national level. Like, listen, I believe he's got all the attributes there.
His style will be interesting.
Will he take the right path? Facts. Oh my God, that's a great point that you just brought up there, Conroy. Very interesting how he's going to play his football and how he's going to set out his team. It does make you think, and the fact he's starting in Bundesliga intrigues me with the fact of how tactical
that's difficult,
that league actually is.
Because they're not all going to play passing football. Some will just, like, it's not the same level as Premier League, but it's still a good league, and I feel like other teams will focus on your weakness instead of just playing their football. So it's not going to be easy straight away just to click. Do you know what I mean? Is like a Sociedad team have been brought up, so you should have a right back in. He knows how to play that way from the youth, whereas Bundesliga, you're going to have different players, different strengths and weaknesses. I'm actually very intrigued, because earlier I was like, it'll be tiki-taka, it'll be like Spain, but then when you look at his career, spell at Munich as well, obviously, that was under Pep for a bit. Am I right? Pep was there for a bit? It was a bit as well.
Yeah, it was, yeah.
So I'm intrigued. I am intrigued. I don't think it'll be like tiki-taka Spain, but I think it'll be a mixture, because it'll be interesting to see, guys. I'm actually quite I think all Liverpool fans will be watching this one to see how he gets on, because Mönchengladbach, I mean, a previous stream someone mentioned they've got Thuram as well. They got through the Champions League group.
They're in the Champions League team. They were in the Champions League last year, and they got out the group stages both seasons.
This year they got out the group stage, bearing in mind Real Madrid were in the same group, and Shakhtar, if I'm not wrong, as well. It was quite close towards the end. So they've done
quite well. Shakhtar and Inter and Real,
and Inter. They go up against City and they lost, but most teams right now lose to City, to be honest. So it's not nothing to be ashamed about. So
they actually finished third, didn't they, in that group? They finished ahead of Inter. Inter went out. They didn't even get the Europa. with Real, Mönchengladbach, and Shakhtar got second, I think.
Well, I think Sam's saying here that Alonso plays a 4-2-3-1 at Real Sociedad. So you'll never, listen.
That can be taken several ways, James. That could be Scotland played a 4-2-3-1, and it's not. It doesn't. That generally could be. You can be defensive, you can be offensive. There's several things.
We'll have to see what he gets as his backroom staff as well, because at the end of the day, when I look at Gerrard, he's done a great choice of choosing his backroom staff and who's helping him around that. That's massive as well. And, like, for example, someone brought up here, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer in a comment just before. He's someone who I don't think has got good backroom staff, and he can choose that backroom. Man's got Darren Fletcher, man's got Phelan, but all of his backroom staff, right? Not that there's a massive issue with this, but they're all English and they're all, like, from the UK, and that's fine when there's a few of them from there, but when you actually think of it from everything, the fact that you haven't got no one with some outside knowledge, like for example in Europe, and you need that for them European competitions, especially if you're a club like United, and then even coming up against a Thomas Tuchel, a Jurgen Klopp, these managers who have adapted these styles to the Premier League from other countries, which actually do have a higher ability, but the reason why the Prem is looked at that level is because we take their players. Do you get what I mean? But tactically, they're actually better in different countries. I mean, maybe that's a debate, but that's the way I kind of think of it with Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's backroom stuff.
Well, see, the thing that gets me sometimes, right, is like, I don't look at Man United too much, but every time I seem to watch a game, it's either a new technical director of football or a new coach as a former player. And it's like, each their own, because you can maybe argue Gary McAllister, but Gerrard's not spoke to Gary McAllister for about, 8 years? He's not played him for about 8 years, and then probably longer than that. I'm getting mixed up my dates, probably 15 years. But he's wanted him because he feels like he's got the experience. Because McAllister's older than him for a start as well. You've got Michael Beale. No one. Were you talking about Michael Beale before? You were, James. But I mean, there's a lot of people who didn't know who Michael Beale was.
A lot of people didn't. No.
But in the game, a lot of people, like, if you're in the academy, knew this guy is shit hot. This guy, the style of football, and it's very similar to Liverpool. So that's not a coincidence as well. So Gerrard said, "No, I'm taking him. I'm taking Ross Wilson, who's like for your signings and stuff. It's quite high regard. But other people don't know who that is. So you're not going for names that mean a lot. And I'm not saying Man United are necessarily doing that way with Solskjaer, but I've noticed that if you're a young manager, you need to surround yourself. There seems to be a common denominator. If you surround yourself with the right people who, like, you're not trying to say, "Oh, I know everything, I'm arrogant," because Gerrard obviously didn't. He's made a mistake. He's called out the players before. He called Goldson was idiotic defending, right? Went on a horrendous run. So he's realised, he's got better at that, James. He doesn't do it as much anymore. He tries to keep it in-house. And I feel like because the right people around him are telling him,
did you hear this comment about, don't mind him, he's listening to Sweet Caroline, he's in there, he's okay. He can even talk and express himself better now.
That's why I love him. Because he's better at interviews now.
He's like, much better.
He seems to take a breath and not say, right... Like, so
but he just said that when he said that sentence that Darren's just mentioned. He said
that was about Morelos.
No, he's in the back. He's in the back listening to Sweet Caroline, mate. He's fine.
So that's amazing. It was when it's his own players. I think he used to be like, if it's captain, he could say, "Oh, that was rubbish." But now he's like saying, "Right, it was rubbish, but I need to keep that within. I can't go out to the media and I let my frustrations." Whereas it's not a coincidence that the people surrounding him is James. You're spot on. That's the big thing, and it doesn't necessarily need to be. I see Michael Carrick and all that, and like great players, but we keep assuming great players make great coaches. That is not the truth at all. Or, I mean, like Jurgen Klopp was a bang average footballer, right? Who brought Mainz up, got him relegated again, and went to Dortmund. Has become a god of a coach and a manager. I get annoyed with the assumption. Pirlo looks out his depth right now. Right, that's a fact.
Because he's jumped into it. Why the fuck did he jump into it?
But what qualifications has Pirlo got to be a manager of a team?
Because he was good at football. No, because he was good at football.
Yeah, you see, that's the attraction, isn't it? You were good at football, you have the experience.
Did you ever hear Pirlo talk in the park? I never heard him talk in the park. So how can he tell players what to do? How can he inspire players?
I think that with Gerrard, it's probably gone a little bit underestimated to some, probably not to everybody. I don't know, but heard in a couple of different podcasts and that. I think what he's done is a phenomenal job there. Like to win. Set the Rangers that 55th league title, and the way he done it, like 2 goals conceded at home all season. Was it Celtic he's beaten 3 times? Twice, and then didn't they draw against them the weekend?
Yeah.
I mean, it's as good as winning 10 in a row because that club financially where they were at, They were 2 divisions below the top division a couple of seasons ago. Like they were on their knees.
No one's won 10 in a row, James. No one's won 10 in a row in Scotland. That's why it's
Rangers
such a prestigious thing.
No, of course, he stopped it. He stopped a thing that would have never probably been broken, or at least not in our lifetime, or not for a very, very long time, even if it is in Scotland. Yeah. Like, mate, that is an unbelievable achievement from any club, even if you are
I was talking to a Celtic fan when Gerrard got the job, because at the time I think he was linked with MK Dons, and we remember there was a bit of news speculating that MK Dons are going to approach about managerial job, and I said, really, Gerrard, he's doing good at Liverpool, at the youth, keep him there, let him learn his trade, like we all wanted at the time to get his development. And what happened, he was appointed then by Rangers, and I remember a mate of mine as a Celtic fan says, that's a poison chalice there, he's mad going there, he's going to be hated, he's not going to do well, he's going to, why go there? 3 years later, he stopped the 10 in a row. And
he's a legend.
He's iconic. Yeah. And he always will be there.
But that's the risk and reward. That's the risk and reward. It is risk and reward with that. Because if you don't, you're remembered as the person who Celtic have won.
But that's Gerrard. When he took that shot against Olympiacos. Mate, that's Gerrard, because he takes them.
West Ham FA Cup final, mate.
West Ham FA Cup. Do you want me to tell you why he takes that in that minute of the game? Because he's Gerrard, and it's what he does. If someone does that and misses, what the fuck are you doing?
I still can't believe he scored that.
But then Gerrard,
20 years later,
if he shoots,
even
if he misses, we say nothing because we know what he can do, and that's why Gerrard is a baller as a manager and as a player. And speaking of ballers, I'm hearing here the football terrors put Emile Smith-Rowe in overrated, Calvert-Lewin overrated, and Jones in trash baller. Someone must have paid for Jones's trash baller.
That's come on. Let's just
you don't know. You just don't.
I'll let the Foden talk happen, right? Because I appreciate Foden, or maybe even Saki, who argues like playing more games on a different level, but don't come at me with Smith, bro. That's just, come on.
No. Listen, like Curtis Jones, right? I don't, whatever you want to talk about all the other players, Curtis Jones does not get into the trash category. I don't care.
No chance at all.
Not a chance on God's green earth, mate. Shout out to my man Terry, but that's a travesty. The fact he's let that happen on the show. It's actually embarrassing.
It'll be someone's paid a $5 or someone's paid a $5.
I said that. Someone's paid dough. Otherwise, that doesn't make sense. That doesn't make sense. Or he's got someone on his show that is smoking the craziest of budge. And if it's none of them two things, then I haven't got a clue, people. I really, really do not know. Boys, do you know what I actually want to talk about? I want to get your reaction, even if you've seen it, to the away kit and the stream as well. To the rumoured away kit for next season before I say it. Here it is.
That's the third kit. The third kit.
Is this the third one?
Yeah, that's the away one is talk of like kind of a creamy white colour. But I have to say, that's lovely. It's different gravy. And I think we last had that, wasn't it, the year where, it might have been 2006, where we won the FA Cup. That actually taught the Gerrard's goal. I think we might have had a yellow one that year back in when we had Adidas, and that was nice.
We had the Warrior yellow one. That was a belter, eh? The Warrior yellow one. We've had a semi-final.
That's right, yeah. We've had a couple of lovely kits, but I think that'll be nice in person. I think when it looks well now in picture, it's even nicer.
It looks good, mate. It looks very nice.
Do you reckon? Yeah, I like the fact it's all retro-y and that, but I don't know, that just looked a bit mad for me. Maybe it's
but I buy retro Liverpool tops, so I'm a bit confused.
Liverpool tops,
but I'm confused. I've just bought one, and it's like the Crown
Paints. Yeah,
it's like they've got the Crown Paints. They've just went, we'll just put a few stripes in this. It'll look good. No.
That's exactly what they've done.
Do you like it yourself?
I'm sorry with it. Like I
like the creativity. The yellow one, it's creative. At least they've tried something.
It's because I got them exact same vibes with what you've just mentioned there. Conroy, and I just thought that they're just trying to copy. Like
they've went in retrofootballkits.com. That'll do.
Does that have? See the way I've Nike, just a tick on this, James. Does that have Nike over? I think when it has the Nike actually wrote in where the tick is, it's nicer.
It's like they've gone with the retro kit, and then they've gone with like the retro badge. Because I used to see that badge a lot more back in the day, where it had like Nike on it as well.
Yeah, that's quite cool actually. I think it's nicer. Actually, the Nike when it says Nike, that is quite old school. That is quite.
That's an old school thing to do, isn't it? So it's one of them things where, like, I think it's mad, but it's not a bad kit by any means necessary. And
at least they've tried something different, though. At least they've not just copy and pasted the same. I don't mind when at least they try.
the way
the
I
home
think
ones
of
are
it
always
is,
fairly similar, aren't they?
Yeah, that home one's just that's
play it
going to need
safe.
to grow on me as well. But you know what though? Like I think of like away kits. Like if we scored in a semi, like a Barcelona occasion in that kit, would I love looking back at that? That's the way I think
It'd be exotic,
of a kit.
wouldn't it?
But that's the way I look at the kit. Like I do look at that yellow kit and I think, do you know what, mate? It may not be the prettiest on the eye, but fuck me, if we won a final in that kit, mate. Tell me about it. That'd be all.
Do you know? I was in the supermarket today, guys, and it's so funny because we're talking about the kind of third or the second, the cool away kits, more the third kits. I keep seeing all the Liverpool third kits. You remember the black one that had it's like the red dots through it? Was it last season or the season before? You know, the one it was last season's one. It had the kind of grey shading at the front. The black one that was cracked, and the New Balance one.
That was last season.
Yeah, like I keep seeing them since we mentioned it. I can't stop seeing the third kits everywhere I go. They're cracking. But I don't know about you guys.
I was online the other day and some Liverpool, I think it was the third kit from the season before, where they did a bit of green in it. Might have been even, was the last season with the green and black. We won at Burnley 3-0 and we wore it. And then my man and Salah had a bit of a tiff and we remember the Firmino smile in the tunnel. Yeah. And I seen that, I was like, where's this coming up? So I was like, you found listening to me, but that was. Just,
do you know, guys, I've told you before, if I like a kit, I'll just go back and buy that t-shirt, that top, and then I don't care about the new season one. I've never been one for being obsessed with the new ones. I just
buying it the day it comes out and trying it on and putting it on Instagram.
Yeah. I'm gonna. Do you know what I want to do? Actually, I want it because I'm in my room. So what I want to do, I want to free up this wall. Right, this is just temporary, and I want to just get like loads of shirts, and I want to just get like loads of. Fucking like I want to maybe put this up because this is just a legendary photo, man, like Fernando El Nino. Yeah, mate, I just want to make this wall just belt it, and then I'll.
Mate, what we'll do for your birthday, James? See when your birthday, when's your birthday? We'll chip in. We'll get you the
27th of June.
Right, we'll get the retro one, mate, and it was the I got the Crown Paints one, but you can get the other one. What was the other one? The famous sponsor we had, Candy, the yellow candy one, or the red candy one. That would be a cracking one. The retro ones are cool, mate. The retro ones are really cool.
I'm on it. Shout out to Mikey who says, shout out my TikTok, our Hamish, Fabinho the Go 3. Boys, if you have a TikTok account and you like people call Fabinho the Go 3, go and fucking follow them on TikTok, man. Mikey, I would follow you on TikTok, but I actually don't have it.
No, I'm not on it either.
It's one of them things.
He's got too much social media. James has got too much already. He can't keep with the amount he's got right now.
Can't get him onto more.
I live in YouTube now. I've moved from Instagram nice into the fucking home of YouTube, humble abode.
You're killing it on YouTube.
This is Darren, come on, lad.
I
appreciate it, man. Jeez,
true.
Making me blush.
Conroy will back me up on it.
He's doing terrible, mate. He's doing.
That's what I love. That's what I love.
I wish I could do the McGregor thing. See the McGregor thing, I'd say, who the fuck is this guy? But I can't do it. I can't do it.
Who the fuck is that guy? Who the fuck is that guy? That little pussy. Nah, sorry, I'm going a bit too far. I'm going a bit too much into
That's good, mate. That's good. It's the Scottish one. What was it the other day? What was it? The Brendan Rodgers one last night. That was Scottish, mate.
That right one?
Yeah, it was Scottish.
I know. I look back at it and I was thinking, shit. But you know what though? A for effort. That's the way I look at it. A for effort.
Yeah, A plus.
You know what I mean? But at least you knew it was Brendan Rodgers.
Tactical genius, mate. Character. That's it. He's getting.
Hey, do you know what? We'll talk about Brendan Rodgers because I want to touch. He's the ex-Liverpool manager, so we can do. In fact, you know what? We'll talk. We'll touch on him dead quick actually because I do want to say something about Brendan Rodgers.
How much I got a player wrong? We'll talk about that. Like, since I said he was average, he scored 7 goals in 5 games.
Yeah, we'll talk about that. Hannah says, are you going to do more James Reed's comments? I'm not too sure, but I might bring it back. Let me know in the comments if that's what you want to see. But anyway, let me mention my boy, Brendan Rodgers. Brendan Rodgers, right. I think there's a few people who massively, and when I say massively, I just don't mean like massively. I mean hugely underrate Rodgers. The amount of people that say he's not a class manager, he's not up there, his level, he's not up there with, like, this is where I think he is. I think he's there with, like, the Pochettinos. I think he's in that category. Whereas, I think it's more people wouldn't put him in that category. People don't look at him like that because he bottles it with Liverpool or what he done with Celtic. He should have done with Celtic. Like, mate, that's a load of bollocks.
Well, we have
he shouldn't be having Leicester in a top 4 race. He shouldn't. He's got them into a semi-final for the first time since 1982. That's no just flimsy thing. Oh, by the way, with injuries. And bear in mind, he's actually a manager who's showing he's well-rounded and he's adapting to his game. And let me tell you this about Brendan Rodgers now. Say if Jurgen Klopp, God forbid, left at the end of the season, touch wood, and say if Steven Gerrard was like, nah, mate, I'm going to stay at Rangers, I'm happy with what I'm doing there, that'll be sound. I'd take Brendan Rodgers back at Liverpool. It wouldn't be my first choice, but if it was offered to me, I wouldn't mind it. That's what I am going to say, because I do think he's a much better manager now than what he was at Liverpool. That's what I'd say. Let me know in the chat as well whether you would.
You see, we have to go back to when we appointed Brendan. It was a surprise to all of us. Very inexperienced. He promoted Swansea. He'd had a great way of implementing a style of football there, which he then brought to Liverpool. He done really well there, but he was very inexperienced, very bare minimum. But didn't he go to his interview, brought a lot to it, obviously impressed the hierarchy at Liverpool, and he got the job. And you remember that 13-14 season, how good we are, and almost won the league. And you could look, there was a couple of different factors. It wasn't just the Gerrard slip. It wasn't the draw at Crystal Palace. It was leaking a lot of goals. It was 50-odd goals that season. If we'd have won the league, we would have been the first team to win the league, conceding that amount of goals. So defensively, we were terrible. There was question marks over Mignolet as well. Obviously, a bit down to Brendan, but he's recruited Coutinho. Remember that for us. We got big money for him. We were able to bring in the recruitments of Ali and Van Dijk. Then going to Celtic came at a great time for him, because he went there, he was dominant, he won treble. Didn't he win the treble there, Conroy? He won
invincible. Like, he didn't lose a game in all competitions.
Yeah, he done that was incredible. Now I know at the time there wasn't as competition as though in the SPL as there is now at Rangers there, and
no, but still to not lose a game, like,
but you can only be who's in front of you.
But he still, he doesn't have to win every game. Yeah, he has to win the league at Celtic, but he doesn't have to win every game.
But that's because his style of play. That's why teams can't. So see, Brendan Rodgers is like that. See, for me, I think he's actually developed as a manager. I think at Liverpool he had flaws. I think he's still got flaws. I think defensively, you wouldn't. Yeah, he's still young. I think that's why I think Brendan Rodgers has got so much potential, and people don't want to give him the credit. The Pochettino point is very accurate. I feel anyway. Don't get me wrong. Champions League final with Pochettino with Tottenham. You can't sleep on that. That's some achievement. But Brendan Rodgers, just like, I've watched Leicester. I watched them last season. Now, I don't usually say, oh, let's blame this, excuses. But see, if you watched them last season, they were very unfortunate. Like, a lot of their key players went out, and when they played Man United in the last day, everyone's like, bottlers. And I was like, okay, maybe you're right, but they got fifth. They weren't expected to get fifth.
That's not their expectation, bro. And do you know what, Conroy? You mentioned the player that you were giving shit a few weeks ago. Do you want me to tell you why that player has proved you wrong? For those who don't know, that player
because he listened to my clip. He was like,
who the fuck's this Scottish prick? This knobhead chatting shit about me.
Alex, this arsehole called Alex.
Who the fuck's this Alex?
Alex.
You know what I mean? Like,
when he gets it wrong, we call him Alex.
Saying that I can't score, I'll show him, mate.
Listen, honestly, I watched them the other day, and I'm.
But do you know why he's doing it, though, Conroy? Do you want me to tell you why he's a different player? Because of the manager. It's not that he's any better, but the manager has gone, right, I'm going to go 2 up top. Vardy, I know you can do more than just score goals. The fact he knows that is brilliant. He knows his man isn't just a goal scorer, so I'm going to utilise that. So now Vardy's being a little bit more creative.
Even getting
allowing Iheanacho to be me in
he drops deeper as well yesterday, which like,
and then Iheanacho's the main man, and whether you like him or not, Iheanacho, he's still a good finisher if he gets a chance. He's kind of like an Origi. That's who he reminds me of in many, like a left-footed Origi. I'm not saying the same.
It seems like Rodgers is like broke it down and sat with him and said, right, listen, this is what you're going to do, and it's like you can tell Rodgers has done that.
Iheanacho can go to 15 other teams in the Premier League and he's not going to look good because he's just not that great of a player. Overall, in my opinion, at least.
No, I'd say he's proved he's not. But then some people might say that he's always had this ability. He's just no one's used him properly, and now it's working. But Leicester suits him though, because he doesn't have to be the main man all the time. He's the main man now because Vardy's no firing, so it's perfect for him. It's like, honestly, guys, I don't think he's an amazing player, but he's proved us all wrong because even the goals he scored, the hat-trick against Sheffield United,
different type of goals.
Deep yesterday, he was taking the ball from the centre circle.
You know what that comes with, Conroy?
Attacks.
Do you want me to tell you what that comes with? That comes with confidence, my friend.
Confidence,
and because now he's
absolutely.
playing in a system. Now he's playing in a system where, oh shit, I'm actually scoring goals. Oh, do you know what? Now that I've scored a goal, fuck it, I'm just going to try this. Yeah. And do you know when you start trying shit and you're not scared and you don't feel limited to what you actually got to use in your fucking arsenal, like, mate, it makes a big difference. And that's what Iheanacho's seeing. But the thing is, though, the second Maddison comes back, the second a few of these injuries comes back, Iheanacho's right back out the team. Why? Because the system's one of them.
He'd be a good option for him, though, won't he?
Be a very good option, he's proven that. But overall, that's not what he is. And this is what I'm basically trying to do. Whether you agree or disagree on the Iheanacho thing, Brendan Rodgers is a fantastic manager at adapting. He's got a man like James Justin, or Justin James, whatever the fuck his face is, because I always get them good. My man's got two faces.
What a signing. Why does no one talk about that?
Unbelievable,
Do you know what I mean? James Justin and Castan, he's got them playing left back and right back different weeks. He
doesn't have a left-footed left back. No one seems to mention that. He always left backs are right.
Sometimes he'll play James Justin there, sometimes he'll play fucking Thingy there. Mate, I don't know what it is about Rodgers, but he's acquired so many skills in his time away. He's evolved.
He has,
evolved.
And he's still young. Do you think Arsenal slipped up and not signed him? Was it 2 seasons ago?
Shout out to my brother Nick, man. Oh my god, he's got a oh my god, he's going on.
I love that.
Oh yeah, I brought Nipsey. Say hi. He was in Barclay all day, wanted to meet Hammers, the legend. There you go. What's going on, guys?
What's happening, brother?
He or she, I forgot.
He.
Come on, man. Yo, my brother. Hey, let me spot the dog. Let me spot the dog, man. Come on, bruv. Let me spot the dog, man. Yes, man. Yes, man.
That's super.
He's quality. Him, no, lads. He's built it. You're all right, Nick?
Jerseys, that's a nice one on Nick as well, isn't it?
Good, man. I was tuned in, man. What's good, guys?
Love that. Hey, yeah, Darren. I agree.
It's a nice jersey, that one, Nick.
Lovely jersey.
That was. I remember the quote for that jersey. It was, "It's not a It's not a badge. It's a family crest." That was the quote when that jersey was brought out. Yeah, remember that? Just have it on JD Sports. It's not a badge. It's a family crest. Very iconic one. We were talking about Rodgers there. Do you think Arsenal slipped up obviously a couple of seasons ago and not gone for him?
Fuck yeah, mate. Yeah, so
it looks that way, doesn't it?
Yeah, let's put it in context as well, and even hindsight, because that's a beautiful thing. They've got Mikel Arteta now. They also got Unai Emery, who, granted, maybe at the time was a higher quality manager than Brendan Rodgers, fair enough. But that being said, hindsight's told us that obviously weren't the best partnership, and Brendan Rodgers is in a situation where... But here's the thing, though. Even though I think they fucked up, I don't at the same time. I feel like that's a job, the Arsenal job, where you're going to struggle to win, mate. And I don't mean win football matches. I mean just overall, like, there's just things that aren't right there. And Brendan Rodgers, the reason why he didn't win the league at Liverpool, in my opinion, is he didn't get the full freedom of the transfers. And
I don't think he has anywhere, James, to be honest, mate. I still don't think he does. I feel like he
Leicester, he's limited, isn't he?
I'm not even saying he probably gets more say at Leicester than anywhere else. He gets more freedom at
Leicester.
Yeah, but Leicester I've said before, Leicester are a brilliant ran club. Why would you take the Arsenal job over Leicester? Why would you take the Arsenal job over Leicester? That to me is ridiculous. And people might say, big club, I didn't want to hear this, right? Leicester, you're backed, right? Good style of football, right? You've got top players who stay there and don't want to leave. There's a big argument to say Leicester are pushing to consistently stay in the top 6 now. And people need to start accepting that. I think they'll make the top 4 no bother this season. I don't think they'll slow down at all.
Yeah, no.
That's Rodgers. That's Rodgers. That's what achievement is for Rodgers.
And Vardy as well torn down Leicester.
Their recruitment is second to none, man. It's up there probably with Southampton, do you know what I mean? And they get some really, really top players, do you know what I mean? They're able to scout the market. They play a good brand of football. So, I think he's doing well there,
even that Tielemans recruitment, he got him on loan. Then didn't they sign him for 40 million?
They'll sell him. They'll sell him for 60 million.
He's 60 at least. What a player. And he's only 23. I mean, his international experience, Champions League experience, now Premier League experience, which is, by the way, now probably the best league there is out there, most competitive.
See, James, what you were saying, I wanted to say one more thing. Right, this is why this season I think Leicester are different. So I watched them against Chelsea, now albeit like teams have bet Chelsea and stuff, but it looked to me that he's evolved in the sense he knows when not. He used to be too open, and he's not always like that. So see, yesterday he plays a free at the back against Man United. With Sionchu, Evans. Sionchu was superb, by the way. Sionchu was absolutely superb. The amount of times he ran down the line to start attacks, with just himself took the ball up the park. But see that in itself, he played free and then 2 up front. Now, I don't necessarily think Man United were expecting that, and I think it took them off guard a bit by Iheanacho dropping deep. And it was like you could tell that move in itself, he's played Man U a few times and he's not got the better of them playing the same formation. He's tried different things. And yesterday, it looked like it just clicked, and it looked like... they looked like they were confident to beat Man United yesterday. I don't know if you watched Tielemans' goal, but that goal to me just screams that he knows he's going to get the ball back. He knows he's going to be faster than them.
That goal was coming as well, by the way. Tielemans was playing really, really
well. And Vardy missed... Nick was saying, I was talking to Nick yesterday, Vardy misses an absolute sitter. It should have probably been more that game.
I couldn't believe that.
They should have put him to the sword, man. They should have put him to the sword, man. Because, it could have been 3-4, you know what I mean?
Yeah, but they have tightened up defensively this season. There's not only probably only conceded 30 league goals, which is good for this stage of the season, because he has been renowned, especially in the Premier League in the past. Brendan conceded a lot more goals than that. So this will probably be his best defensive record season in terms of numbers of goals they've conceded, and they will get third now, no doubt about it.
Yeah, Leicester,
even second.
Ooh,
they're only a point behind United.
It's that clear cut, you know. I don't know.
I
if
think
it's that clear cut. I think Chelsea are more nailed on. I think Man United are probably maybe more nailed on.
But Leicester are scoring more goals than both of them. Like Chelsea are not beating everybody.
No, do you want me to tell you the difference?
Do you want
me to tell you the difference? Chelsea are conceding goals.
I agree, but I feel like Leicester...
A good defence will take
But Leicester have turned a corner. Like, we thought they were going to have bottle it again, and then since then they've won 3 games in a row and knocked Man United out the cup. Or maybe that is one of the 3 games.
I don't know, James. I was with you. I would have been probably with you when we were last on this, thinking Leicester, they'll get the top 4, but they're not going to be certain for top 3. I think now it could be 3rd or 2nd. If they keep going, they're consistent, then I think Chelsea probably only conceded 4 or 5 less than them. But since Tuchel's come in, that's where they really tightened up. And look, I mean, they're also the team to beat as well.
Leicester got players coming back as well. Leicester have got... Remember, this was without Maddison as well. And
they've also got a lot of big games. I think they've got Chelsea, Tottenham and someone else in the last 3 games. So we'll have to see how that goes. But boys, I wanted to touch on Harry Kane, because there's been rumours coming out that obviously he wants to leave the club next season. And here's the thing with Harry Kane as a whole. And the reason why I'm bringing it up, I know Liverpool are most likely not going to sign Harry Kane. I'm seeing prices of 120 million. It's probably a load of arse, but the reason why I want to talk about it is because it's one of them things where it shouldn't be that it shouldn't be that impossible to sign him, and it's one of them things where even though it's unlikely, we can still talk about it, because if he joined Liverpool, he's more likely to win a trophy with us than Spurs. So we'll talk about it. People may question loyalty in this situation, and when I've seen topics and people talking about it, like I've seen comparisons to Gerrard, and we should do what Gerrard did. The thing is though, I don't think it's that clear cut, and I don't think he really has to. I feel like he should be able to do whatever he wants, and if he wants to leave to get a trophy, then he should be able to. And at the end of the day, he's contributed a lot to the club. It doesn't look like they're going to go ahead and win a trophy anytime soon, even though they're in a League Cup. And even if you are Harry Kane, you don't want to be remembered for a League Cup. So I'm just trying to basically bring to the table, boys, would
Audi
you
Cup
take...
as well.
Would you take Harry Kane? Would you take Harry Kane?
If we could, absolutely. Premier League experience.
When you put everything into it, so when you put context, and you put money, and you put wages, and you put age, would you take Harry Kane?
Yes, well, he's going to be 28 now at the start of the next season. I think he's 27 or 28 this summer, so he's at the peak of his career, isn't he now, really? This is his prime. The last 5, maybe 6 seasons, he's been brilliant, very consistent. He does stay fit as well a lot, doesn't he? He has in the last couple of seasons. He's had a lot of injuries here and there, but he intends to come back a bit quicker than expected. But I mean, he's what we need, isn't he? He's clinical, he's a goal scorer, scores different types of goals, he's a leader. Very, very good, and I think, this is the season.
He's one of the best strikers in the world, guys. One of the best strikers. He is the best.
He's going to leave Spurs, isn't he? Absolutely. I mean,
to be honest,
he's there since 2013, since he came back from Leicester on loan. As James has said, they haven't won that, and they've came close to the Champions League final. Was huge from under Pochettino. Then they had a really bad start to the season. He was sacked. They're no better. I don't know. Apart from a new stadium, it's bonkers there, isn't it? And is he going to hang around?
I don't think it's out of the absolute like world to think we won't get him, because when you really sit down and think about it, Kane, like you said, has to leave. Do you know what I mean? I don't think he's going abroad only because like what is Kane, 29?
28 you'll be in the summer.
28,
27 now.
28. So I just think in his stage of his life, I just don't know if he's going to go out there with his family and learn new languages and all of that. Do you know what I mean?
And if he wants to win trophies, don't Nick?
Yeah, but then
guys.
I think
he's a Spurs fan. You go to Madrid, don't you?
I think, yeah, I hear that, but I feel like he might actually look at it and think, well, why not? Do you know what I mean? I don't think City are gonna go for him. We could get, if we put up the money, we could. Answering your question, hell yeah, I'll take Harry Kane. He's everything that we need. Do you know what I mean?
Would you take one of the best strikers in the world? The best striker. He's better than Haaland. He's better than Haaland right now. He's
not proven.
No, he's not.
It's a no-brainer.
He's not. I don't feel like he's as clear as what you're saying though. Like I feel like it's a lot closer. I'm not.
Lewandowski is like the best.
He's
in my
elite.
opinion. But we're all obsessed with Haaland and Mbappe now, and like fair play, right?
No, I don't put Mbappe in this. Like don't get me wrong, they should be compared to each other, but I prefer Haaland's. I want Haaland because I know I am more confident Haaland will sustain this than Mbappe will sustain it. I feel like they both will sustain it, but I feel like if one player, if it's Gini,
Haaland's ruthless though. Haaland's ruthless. There's a difference. Mbappe, I feel like Mbappe gives me Hazard vibes. Like he just enjoys going to training and he doesn't want to get the numbers. And people might say he's got 100 goals, but it's League One. I didn't want to hear it. I do not want to hear it. If someone went to Scotland and scored those numbers, you'd never be talking about it in the same breath. And I'm not saying French League isn't better. Of course, it's better in Scotland, but it's the French League at the end of the day. They win it.
There's one team ruling the roost in it.
The only time it's been I'd count it as a big trophy for him is when Monaco won it, because that was some achievement. But I just think people love to get gassed, and I think he will be amazing. But can he show me why he's amazing instead of everyone on Twitter telling me? Because it's like, if you stay in France, he's never going to be regarded as that, and that's simple as that. I don't think you can judge him in France, not at all, because he's playing the Champions League.
I think him winning that World Cup is the reason why, and I agree with you.
Did Giroud win the World Cup? Does that mean Giroud's one of the best strikers ever?
I think it's because Mbappe, the age he's at, how many goals he's got, how consistent he's been. But you're right, Haaland is more ruthless, and you would take Haaland in terms of goals and what Liverpool need and what we'd want, absolutely. But I do think all them applaudits go to Mbappe because of his age, the World Cup winner, the goals he's got.
I'm not saying
I still think Haaland, he's more of a winger. He is more of a winger.
They're not Messi, Ronaldo level. They're not.
Mbappe doesn't even want to play striker, boys. Mbappe doesn't even want to play striker. So for Liverpool, that is not what we need. So out of Harry Kane and Haaland, if you were to ask me, I'd much prefer Haaland.
Well, you see, you have to, James, you have to remember as well, Kane, he's 6 or 7 years now at the top level of Premier League experience. That is huge, and he's going. I would say now he's at the prime of his career. He has another. Probably, if he keeps himself really fit, 4 or 5 years at the top of getting goals in the way he does it, 30 goals a season.
No. Let me I just want an intercept. I've got something for you. What's made our what's the number one reason in a brief answer that's made our season collapse this year, boys? Someone just give me the number one reason.
Injuries.
No, okay, thank you. Well done, Nick. You get the answer right. Brownie points go to you. My mate, injuries. So when we're talking about injuries and we're talking about FSG, who, by the way, do not like spending that much on the moolah. I think we can all agree there.
Yeah, 100%.
Boys, they'll be spending 120 million of their very own budget on a Hazard Kane, as well as their wages, by the way, on a player that will be coming in to most definitely start, but he's most certainly lost a yard of pace. He's not the same player he used to be. He looks better because of his system. That's all I'm saying. Still a world-class player, one of the best in the world, no doubt about it. But my man is 27, and also he'd be playing every week in our team. What does that mean? Oh yeah, bye-bye Harry Kane for 4 months. Bye-bye Harry Kane for 4 months. So then you're telling me... So just hear me out, boys. Hear me out, right? So you've got a Harry Kane, 27, 120 million, this much dough a week. Premier League proven, granted, but, you know, it is what it is. Then you've got Erling motherfucking Haaland. Erling, man like motherfuck boys. Haaland is a monster. But stats aside, everything aside, he is a monster. He's getting goals to games. He's laughing at goalkeepers just because he wants and because he knows he's going to keep scoring.
Because he missed a penalty. That's why.
That's why. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if
he has a release clause.
But you never asked.
I'm not.
You never asked whether we want.
No. Like, right, you go first, Nick. Sorry, mate.
I was just wait there.
Nick, dead fast. Can I just read these? Khaled says, yes, lads, hope you're all well. City fan here. By the way, just wanted to hear your thoughts on Danny Ings being linked with City this summer. We will touch on that. Let Nick just make his point, and the boys as well. Shout out to Toby. Tap and Toby. I will get that super chat up as well, but I'm going to leave this one up for Khaled just so I don't forget it. But shout out to Toby. Go subscribe if you haven't already, the boys. You'll see the shout out in a minute, but the super chat's in the super chat. Anyway, boys, Nick, go ahead, fella.
No, very quickly, I was just going to say, mate, you never asked whether, you said your question was, would he take Kane? I answered that. If you're then going to caveat that with which, bruv, I'll take Haaland all day in it, like, and that's because he's exactly what we need. He's a proven out-and-out striker. I'll take Haaland over Mbappe. So, do you know what I mean? I'll definitely take Haaland over
I agree with all
Kane,
that,
so.
Nick. But there's just a reason I'm going to say what we say. Right, few things. Haaland's not going to happen. He's going to go to City. It's a guarantee, right? Mino Raiola, Liverpool will not
Chelsea.
work for him, right? No, I think Man City, because I think it's his dad's club. Why do Man United fans would ever think?
Matter. I don't think that has as much substance.
Oh, it does with Man United. No, okay, fair enough, James. But with Man United fans,
his dad will walk into Man City, Conroy, and he'll be like, "Wow, this place is fucking crazy." Like, you're seeing trophies and everything. Be different when I was here. That's
I mean, with United. I meidn't say I meant with United. He won't go to United because people keep glossing over the fact. Listen, I'm not going to go to a club where the legendary captain ended my dad's career. Yeah. Yous are high if you think anyone's doing that. If you think people don't think about stuff like that, you quite clearly that's not going to be a fact. And I saw a big news article say this the other day, and I said that's not news. That's just common sense. Like,
yeah, literally.
800 word report, obviously. But it was like, for me, guys, Liverpool won't work with Mino Raiola. That's a fact that won't happen.
No. Can't say it, no. He also has a release clause next season, Haaland, isn't it? 74 million.
No, he's got 101 this summer, I think, and then it's a 71. But he's not going to be there next
22, summer. I don't think so, but if they're not going to let him go for half the price next season.
Yeah, man.
James, I would take Haaland 100%, mate. I just see the thing. This is what I think will happen, James. This is why I'm saying Kane, right? So this is what I think will happen. City or Chelsea will get Haaland, right? Liverpool are going to go into obscurity if they don't get a number 9. I think we can all agree on that. You know, there is a few cheaper options. We've spoke about Jimenez, etc. That are out there, right? And I wouldn't mind that at all. I'd be happy with that. But I think see how it's like a domino effect. If City get Haaland, right, I do think there'll be pressure from us on the team to buy someone of a similar caliber. You're not going to get Lewandowski, are you? Actually, ironically, you probably get Lewandowski for cheaper than Kane, funnily enough. That's why I think Kane, that pressure might get put on to get Kane. I don't think it will happen, but that's my logic behind it. Personally, I'd still go with a Jimenez. Like I've said that before, even though he's a little bit older, a little bit cheaper, I get that. But that's why I think Kane might happen, because I think no one will go for Kane. I know Callum disagrees. He thinks Man City will go for Kane. But I think as soon as someone gets Haaland, so if you're right, James, if Chelsea get Haaland, who do you think Man City are going to buy? They're going to buy Kane, and then it's going to be like a sweetie shot for Man City. It's like they're talking about Danny Ings, but if Man City get Kane, or if they get either one, but I think they'll just be unstoppable with Messi in the hole.
Do you think Liverpool would go get Kane though?
I don't think we'll go for them. I don't think we'll go for them. I'm not going to lie.
I think Jimenez is more realistic, to be honest.
Yeah, absolutely.
I agree. I want to read a few. I want to read a few. What are the chat saying as well? Toby says Mbappe is better than Haaland too. Haaland is a generational talent, but Mbappe is better. Mbappe has dominated the World Cup, scored in UCL, lads. Put some respect on Mbappe. He shows it regularly. I know that you can throw out trophies and all that. I think what we're just trying to say is based on ruthlessness and based on what we need. We're saying Haaland. You shouldn't really compare Haaland and Mbappe and say who's better. What you should really do is more so look at it at a perspective of, oh, well, what he does in his position, is it more value than what he does in his position? So, for what Mbappe brings to the winger, is that better than what Haaland brings to the striker?
No, we need a striker, so it's not going to help us.
What we need a striker. That's how you can determine who's better.
We need a number 9.
I don't feel it's his night and day. La Marlow says, everyone is talking about Haaland and Mbappe, but I think everyone forgot about Ansu Fati, and he's only 18. Again, we're talking about like strikers just because that's what we need, man. We need a number 9.
We don't need another.
Liverpool for me, I've never been a
ready.
club, right, that have been exactly, and it's not like we need someone who's ready. And Liverpool for me, right, has always been a club where, even though Liverpool is Liverpool and we win trophies, for me as a young Liverpool fan, I'm not accustomed to Liverpool winning trophies season in, season out. I'll tell you that now. Now that we've won the Premier League, oh, mate, I've got the mentality of a fucking champion. But I'll tell you now, before when we won that, mate, I was a little man. I couldn't speak to no one because we didn't have that Premier League. All I had was a Champions League, and I can't even fucking remember it. Barely. So I couldn't even claim that. So, like, it's one of them things where Liverpool...
We had the Suarez season, though, James. That Suarez season was something else,
that was one
mate.
of my favourite seasons, and we won all. Do you get what I mean?
No, but there's some things in football that a person does that you just can't forget. I watched it the other night. You can't forget. People just do things. You know, Henry, when Arsenal... was it 20 goals and 20 assists that season, some of the goals he scored. See, watching Suarez's goals, I was like... Actually, you know, sometimes you've just got to go. We never won anything, but he was just something else, wasn't he?
Do you remember the shot against Arsenal in the game we won 5-1? It was the best shot that a goal never went in. Like it was, but no,
Suarez was sex on legs, mate. No homo people, but mate, Suarez was just sex on legs.
All the years I've been supporting Liverpool,
horrible person, but sex on legs, mate.
Yeah, we always had goal scorers. All the years I've been supporting Liverpool, from Fowler to Owen to Torres, Suarez. You know, we've always had goal scorers.
Even Sturridge, like we've always had, like somewhat. Like, do you know, even when Suarez left, I was like, still got fucking Sturridge. He's still a good goal scorer. But then that went over time. Do you know what I mean? And even Toby says here as well, Kane is much better than Haaland, James. Kane has played 40 games this season too and isn't a system player. He can score tons as a pure 9. He can drop deep and create and can hold up play. World class. Never said that he weren't, and actually never said that Haaland was better than Kane. I know Kane's world class, and I don't believe Haaland is actually right now 100% better. But when I talk about who I will prefer for my team, it's actually not really that close, and based on who I
financially makes more sense, mate, because he's younger as well. Yeah, it does make more sense. But how much are you going to get Haaland for? Do you think it'll be a bidding war? Because I think someone will
that's what Dortmund should opt for. That's what they should opt for.
That's what they want. Yeah, and I think they'll get it, to be fair.
I think it'll be like 150. You'll need to get him because
I want that release clause to kick in.
At least no.
But what happens when there's a release clause and there's 5 teams make the release clause? That's when it gets interesting. You know.
Well, that's why I'm saying they're gonna have to do it beforehand, and they're gonna have to do a kind of bidding thing beforehand because they know that.
And Dortmund will get another striker because they're good. Some clubs are just good.
Well, it might also go down to what impact this COVID has. Like they're talking about fans being back in Premier League games in May. Probably a big possibility that won't happen. If that doesn't happen, our club's gonna pay huge money when financially a lot of the top clubs we know already have it, but they've already spent a lot of money. Like I've said on other streams before, Liverpool will come out of this financially a lot better than any of the other top 6, you know what I mean, because of our net spend, the revenue we've brought in. But maybe clubs will consider a little bit different. Maybe it mightn't be as explosive as a transfer market as we think, or as let's say everyone's thinking it's going to be. But I don't know, it'd be interesting because I think COVID might have still an impact, especially if it comes out that there's new strains, variants, or something else has happened, or there's a setback. We just don't know, you know, so time will tell.
Facts. Yeah, shout out to Welford, by the way. Obviously, people go subscribe to Welford.
Man like Welford.
We'll go back to Khaled's super chat of what he said. I took a picture of it, by the way, Khaled, I was supposed to say. But he went, yes, lads, hope you're all doing well. City fan here. Just wanted to hear your opinion, on Danny Ings being linked with City. Now, I've actually saw this as well, and apparently it's like a genuine thing. Like, Pep Guardiola said that he wants Harry Kane before, but I've also heard links that he wants Danny Ings, if, like, that could be a choice. What do you reckon on that, boys? If I'm an outsider looking in, like say if I'm putting myself in a City fan's shoes, I wouldn't be sad because you've got dough, so it doesn't matter. But like, that wouldn't be my number one choice, is what I would say for a striker.
Especially if you get Danny Ings and not Haaland.
Yeah, Aguero's 30-something, Gabriel Jesus not cutting it. Haaland is there, Kane's there, and your Man City, by the way, you've got the money to spend, and you're going to go and get Danny Ings. Like, Liverpool fan, I really wish Danny Ings worked out at Liverpool. Would love it. I don't think he would come back, but I probably would take him, to be fair. But again, I'd be contradicting myself because, again, he gets a lot of injuries. That being said, I don't think it's the best option, but still, I feel like there could be a bit of something to it. He wants to get Champions League football. He's not going to get that at Southampton.
No, Bizzo said something earlier as well. That was funny. He'll only play 10 games a season under Pep.
See, guys, he scored 22 goals for Southampton, right? 22 goals for Southampton. He's a different player now. If you actually watch him now, can you imagine the amount of chances to get a team? And you're saying he doesn't need...
That's what I was going to say.
Doesn't need to play every game at City. There's some games that don't play a striker and they score, right? I think Ings could be ridiculous for them. And like, I'm not saying he's Hal and Kane levels, but at Southampton, he might get 1-2 chances a game. And he scored 22 goals last season for Southampton.
Yeah. I agree.
Just apply that logic to City.
Man. I think he'll be absolutely dangerous for City. And the fact is, that's the only thing is his injury is. But if he's getting fed off, like look at the service and trust me, he's double what Jesus is. Trust me, as a finisher, I'm telling you. Like, and if Jesus still finishes, like, I'm telling you, man.
And they'll get him for good money because he's only got 1 year left, I think, or 2 years left. So they'll get him for
it's a year left
money.
On his contract. But you made a good point there as well, Conroy. He won't play every game or won't need to. So that could be good for him in terms of he's an injury-prone player. If he's not playing all the time, there's less chance of injury.
Still scored 22 goals last season, guys. So he has played games. Point, though. Like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
apparently we have a 20% sell-on clause as well, so if Danny Ings goes...
That'll be great when he scores the winner at Anfield to win City their 4th title. That'll be brilliant.
Like, say if he went for a good bit of dough as well, we could get a little chunk of money out of that.
I hate you, Conroy.
He won't go for that lot, though, because he's not signing a new contract, so I think
City, true, actually.
City will sign Haaland, and then he'll be the backup striker. That's what will happen.
He'll be the backup striker, yeah.
He'll coming on, and then I'm going to use Bizzo's WhatsApp message in 3 years' time and be like, that aged well, mate. No, I do like Ings. I rate Ings. I think he's a brilliant striker. I feel like
fantastic
to come back from those injuries and score, guys. 20. See when Ronaldo. Remember Ronaldo and Anelka for Chelsea battling for the Golden Boot, right?
Yeah.
They just hit 20 goals. He scored 22 goals for Southampton.
Yeah.
A team who lost 9-0 last season in the same. He's got 22 goals. Honestly.
Yeah, no, he's definitely
he's not going to be the main man. He'll be like they'll sell Jesus and they'll bring him in, and then they don't even need to play a striker. I think that would be a good move, James.
This
I could see them doing that.
I was just going to say, I don't think he'd get as many goals in that system, just because the goals are more spread out in a City team. I still think he'd get a lot of goals and he'd be a great, but I just think it's more.
Think about the amount of chances Aguero gets. Think about the chances Aguero gets.
I'm not even saying that, but the movement's different with Aguero, at least when he was a bit younger as well, especially. So it's one of them things where in a system like this one that they're playing in, I feel like it suits more like an Aguero.
He'll step into that Gundogan role, man.
Boys, because we don't have much time left
as well, isn't he?
Boys,
27
because we don't have much time left, I just wanted to bring up dead quick Gini Wijnaldum to Barcelona. But if you have any more points on that, we can finish that off, and then I
think that's going to happen. Well, I don't know if it'll happen going to Barca. There's obviously speculation is rife at the moment. There's been talk since last summer he was going to go to Barca. Look, he's there for 5 years, was brilliantly. His attitude, his discipline, his passion, his commitment, the box-to-box midfielder that he is, the energy, the attributes, and availability. We know more now than ever. Availability is key to be available, injury-free. He's just, his attitude is... Yeah, he's 5 seasons of us, and we have made him, and working in our system, and with some of the role models of the team like Jordan Henderson, James Milner, when Lallana was there, all these lads obviously would have helped him and put an arm around him. And Jurgen Klopp, the father figure that he is, the god of Merseyside, he has developed him brilliantly, because when he came to us, he was, you seen there was potential. He was 24, 25, he's just gone 30 now. He's at his prime now, isn't he? And best of luck to him. I mean, I have nothing but huge respect for him. The question's going to be, though, who do we replace him with? I mean, who's going to go in there and be ready-made? Like I've always said, he'd nutmeg someone in a phone box. You know what I mean? He's technically, he's very good too, and sometimes we overlook that. But his appearances, the assists, the goals he gets, the contribution, and the asset that he is. If you want to change room with Gini Wijnaldum, you see he's in your team, it's making you 10 foot taller. I just love him. I think he's been a great servant, and the fact now that he's been a captain through some games. I know Bizzo certainly disagrees with it because his contract's running down. But honestly, his attitude and everything is work rate, just what you want, the basics of a footballer. he gives consistently, and that's for me he's been the perfect pro for us. And best of luck if he does go, but obviously I'd love to keep him because of how ready-made he is. He's in his prime. He's only going 30, and how fit he is. Like, you look at the freak physique he has. That's all well and good, but his fitness behind that great body is, he has it, and he could play another 5 or 6 seasons at the top level. I know that might sound a bit far-fetched, but he's going to be a fit. He's as fit as anybody. He's elite. So, look, it is what it is, but we can't be too disheartened. He's gave 5 good season tours, and let's hopefully it ends with number 7 in Istanbul, but won't be too optimistic.
Yeah, I know. That's it. It's a shame, man, because he is a legend, and it's one of them things where I'll always respect him. I'll always admire what he's done for Liverpool. I'll always admire everything that he's done for the club, from the Barcelona game to just everything. And it's one of them things where I've said for a while this should have been sorted earlier, but it's now been put in a situation where, Gini, he just wants to get that last decent paycheck, man, and he wants it. He wants to be. Man. He deserves it for what he's been doing for the past few years. But
we'll also miss a song, won't we? Singing this tune.
Mate, it'll be devastating, and I think he is gonna go. I think he is gonna go. So best.
He's gone, man. He's gone.
James,
everyone knows my opinion on it, so it's like I don't even want to cry about it.
See if you had a job, right, and then you were getting underpaid when other midfielders were getting in the same team, other teams, and then you go. This will all come out in the wash. We'll find out who's been the shady part and who's not. I don't think it was Gini. I think Gini's tried to be reasonable. So 140 grand, say 140 grand a week for 3 years, say 2 years, 3 years is about 5.5 million. For Liverpool to sign a new replacement, I've said this to Nick already, is going to cost between 20 to 30 million, maybe 20 if you're lucky. Or in the opposite, if we take Naby Keita and basically just collapse all the promise we had with Keita to be an attack and influence our team and just make him do the Gini role, that'll be a bit of a waste of 60 million we spent on him as well, because we're still waiting for. I mean, Keita's been decent, but at the end of the day, if he doesn't start to show us a bit more, he'll probably be looked at as a disappointment. So either way, I'm like, the sensible options, I don't care what your I don't care what the contract policies are. It makes much more financial sense to get him now, because any person to replace him, Renato Sanchez, Nehu's, even Bissouma, it's going to cost you a bit anyway, and there's no guarantee. Sometimes I look at it too like tunnel vision, but for me that there's actually, I think Gini wanted to stay. I don't think he's the type of person who's like I know you might say we don't know footballers, but to me he seems like the type of person that he's actually quite loves it at Liverpool and he'd like to stay, because it's not like he's going back to Holland. For me, it's just like it's cheaper to keep him on, and then you could use that money to get a striker.
Do you know what's mad? The way that I've loads of Barcelona fans, shout out to all the Barcelona fans who watch this channel, because there's actually quite a few. A lot of them have been messaging in my comments basically saying I don't even want Gini because we've got about 7 midfielders, 4 of them are about over 30, and it's just not necessary. Well. And I get that, and they're not saying Gini's shit. Like, they've been very respectful about Gini, but it's not a necessity within that squad. It's like, what's a position that we're? It's like we bought Tierney. Like, Tierney's a very good player, but he's not going to start above Robertson. He's just not going to start above Robertson. So why buy Gini Wijnaldum when you've got a Frankie de Jong there, when you've got other players there that are going to contribute?
You've got Pjanic, he's over 30 as well.
Pjanic is
players that you've recently got. So, I don't even... And so, listen, I don't think he'll even win anything. I don't think he'll win anything. I don't think he'll win a Champions League at Barca. He'll simply be getting a big payday, and you know what, mate? I want that for Gini. So if he goes and gets a big paycheck,
and so link up with Ronald Koeman as well.
Maybe bought as a 10.
That's what he wants.
Maybe bought as a 10. Maybe bought to be further up the park, James, because it's Koeman. He might be bought to operate further up. Maybe against Vidal's not there anymore, and Vidal did play deeper at points, but sometimes he'd make the runs. So it might be as that, but. Because Gini is a good 10. If you watch him for Holland, he is a good 10. He can score at Newcastle. Newcastle, I'm not saying he play wide again, but he did play wide, so he can score. But for me, it's a crazy situation. It's an easy resolution.
Who's a ready-made replacement as well.
No, but we're discussing this, so that's therefore 40 million or 30 million gets used from a budget should be going to a number 9 or a new centre back automatically, instead of just spending 5 million as pennies as well, guys.
Or they use
absolutely,
Grujic,
yeah.
or we get Grujic in, which you probably
that's
will
a
do
good
and
point.
try
That's
and
a
make
good
him.
point.
I don't know. I
the-
think he'd be
the-
sold.
I don't want.
He's at the
I don't
club
want
5
loan
seasons
eases
now.
And you could have sold Grujic and paid Gini.
Yeah. I don't. Look, whatever you do, the match doesn't add up. You keep Gini. He's ready-made. He's proven it. He's consistent. He's everything. He's that energy. He's robust. He's what we want in that midfield. Versatile, and he's a leader. He's what we want in
And he knows the
midfield.
system.
Why would you let him go? Look, to me, I think the only midfielder that I'd probably be happy to see coming in replacement. It's not Renato Sanchez, it's Tielemans, who you're going to pay at least 60 million for. And the reason being
I would say
he's young.
Basuma.
Well, yeah, maybe as well.
Tielemans has not got the engine for me. He's done after.
I think he'd improve coming to Liverpool pre-season. I think he definitely would. I think he has a good engine on him. I know after 60, 70 minutes you're looking for Leicester and he's on the floor, but he's quality.
To pay 60, 70 million for someone who's going to have to improve.
That's the only thing. Well, I think energy-wise, but I think technically he has it all. He's robust as well. He is a good
player.
He's going to potentially walk class at 23.
Boys, if you wouldn't, for example, say if you wouldn't take Basuma, or if you're a bit iffy on Basuma, would you say Basuma is more proven now than what Gini was when we bought Gini? Bear in mind, Gini only has one Premier League season.
But because Gini played at Newcastle as a left wing. But I do think Basuma's proved that he can handle the Premier League. But again, it'll be 40 million because it's England player. No, I would pick Basuma.
I'd pick Basuma.
But it's just the money. Spending 40 million, like why?
Where we should be contributing them funds to a striker or to anywhere.
Centre back, mate. We'll still not resolve the centre back issue because Matip's probably going to go as well.
A striker for me is number
one. For me, no, striker's number one. But I think centre back is the summer, mate. That's what we're going for.
We've seen in the past centre backers win your league titles. It goes back to the old saying, and good defences do win your title. It's all well and good getting number 9, but if we can keep obviously Van Dijk fit, if he comes back the same,
at this rate we can't score, Darren. We can't score at this rate. A lot of 0-0s at this rate.
No, but I do think, look, number 9 centre back, it is priority, and I've said it before in previous shows. We need to will Van Dijk come back the player that he was? Will he continue where he left off? Will Gomez still fairly young? Matip could be the last time we see him. He's probably going to go because of how injury prone he is. I don't know. And then look, we'll just have to wait and see. But
defo. Even like when people say, like Ramsey getting 500k a week, he got that because he had the ability to negotiate more because he knew he was free. That's why I'd be happy for Gini to actually leave on a free. Only for him. Stupid from PSG's point of view. But it's because he's going to be able to get just a little bit more cash out of it. But it is what it is, people. We know what FSG can do, and we know that.
Do you think he's definitely going to go, James? Do you think there's any chance he might not go?
He's not going to stay.
He's going to go, I think. Yeah, I think at this stage.
He's gone. And I've said this for months, but now he's definitely gone. Like, if you asked me this 3 months ago, I'd be saying, Conroy, I think he's gone, but maybe if something changes, we've still got a little bit of breathing space. Now I feel like it's
I think it's done now.
So do you think that interview a couple of weeks ago was the last effort to get a contract? Do you think that was what it was?
He wants to stay. The manager wants him to stay, but the funds doesn't match what the club want to give him.
Yeah.
And they just won't come to a common ground there. And again, Gini has got a life to worry about. Yes, footballers get paid a very, very good money, but still, though, there's many aspects that come into it. He may not be set for life, so it's one of them things where if he wants to set himself for life or in other aspects, you go and get yourself a fucking big payday.
It's the principle as well, isn't it?
It's the principle, and people will say, well, then he's a money-grabbing cunt. Well, he's not, because he's just
Ox has been on 120 for 4 years.
He's just been spending 3 seasons on less money than Oxlade-Chamberlain, Naby Keita, and 10 grand more than Nat Phillips. I'm not being funny. I would be fucking fuming with the contribution that I've had in this team, and not just in terms of quality, in terms of minutes. Let's not underestimate the fact
that trophies, actually putting something
fuck
to say.
Trophies, fuck everything. Even if we didn't even win any of them, fuck all of that business. Let's just talk about the fact he's turned up to work.
The professionalism. The professionalism.
No, but
is
what I was saying is, like, the clubs grew as well. Gini's been a big part of that. Mont said earlier, scores a goal to get us in the Champions League against Middlesbrough.
We all talk about Mane. We all talk about Mane being that first piece of the puzzle. Gini came in the same summer.
Gini's been part for us to buy more players, to get the Nike sponsorship, because it all becomes one, guys. It's a domino effect in the sense of, so it's not like he's on 100 grand and it's not like he's on 100 and he's like, he wants 180. Do you know what I mean? It's not like a mass. It's like there's players about the same as him who are getting 140 grand a week. There's other centre mids who are getting the same wage. And it's not like, see if it comes out that Liverpool offered 125 or 130 or. I think FSG were just like strict about it. I don't know if you know more on that, James, but for me, it feels like it's 5 million to get a midfielder for the next 3 years who can do the job instead of spending 45. It's crazy. It is crazy.
Way you're looking at it, lads.
And also as well, another way of looking at it is it's not as if our availability. I know Sergio there saying our availability in midfield's packed, but we have a lot of injury-prone players in midfield. Henderson, Fabinho,
Gini Wijnaldum players though, mate, as well. He's a different type of player. People
exactly,
say he's simple, but he retains the ball so well.
He's like he's one of the force. Him and Henderson in midfield and Fabinho, they were the three. Them trio in midfield. We're so pivotal, got so much success. We're so consistent with those. With Fabinho on that whole role, Henderson and Gini. When you try and change that around, there's just something missing. You try and bring in Knox, you try and bring in Kate, Thiago, just wasn't the same. So those trio for me have been our most consistent and our best midfield. And Gini Wijnaldum to that has been pivotal. They played better because of Gini. Gini played better because of them. And it was an orchestra. It just worked so well. So
you can dominate games in midfield because of Gini. The Real Madrid game, the first game I said is Gini is the most important match for the Real Madrid game because I know in that midfield he's going to be key. And people are like, well, what does he do? Does he get assists? But it's like, if you watch that for me is what Gini Wijnaldum's good at. And it's like, see if you say, right, because you get someone like Gini who can be a spray passes as well, like amazing. All right, but we've not got 100 million to do that, okay? But Gini Wijnaldum fits us perfectly. And I'm worried, guys, because I think we'll end up having to take a Keita to put him there or whatever. And then it'll be like, oh, we spent 60 million for a guy just to keep it simple when he was meant to be a completely different player. And it's
mad. It's like, when you think about it, it's like, as good as Matip has been, Matip has missed like something like 66 days of football, something outrageous. He's been on 100k. Do you know what I mean? And like, we're still going to be relying on Gini come our quarterfinal game because that's how important he still is to our team, even though we're going to lose him. And it just doesn't make any sense. And like you said, Conroy, it just smells of something that we probably don't, you know what I mean? Something's going on.
We might be wrong. It might be like Gini's been like ridiculous. I just can't see that. I can't see that having the type of character he is. And it's like, we don't know them personally, but he's just to stick on that money for so long. See if you were an arrogant.
Should have offered him it earlier.
You wouldn't have. You would have left already.
He
bagged against Barca. Boom.
That header, guys. That header. When it hits the net,
he should have got his contract. Boom.
Signed, Dale done, much to want.
It pisses me off when I talk about Gini now. It pisses me off. I don't want him to go. But like, because I know there's fuck all I can do about it, I don't even allow myself to get worked up over it. The reason why I look fucked right now is because I am, boys. I feel like, why is he going to Barca? The only good thing that he's going to get out of that is a good payday. Other than that, what's he going to do? He's probably not going to win much. Even though Barca are notoriously...
I'd love to play with Messi. Probably that's the selling point. If he does...
Who gives a fuck? Messi?
He'll be still there.
He's going.
No, he'll pass him. He'll pass him in the training. He'll pass him. He's leaving as he's coming.
Maybe like passing
chips. Just like high five, a substitution. Just one of them ones, you know what I mean?
They'll be passing chips. They'll be at Barcelona.
But what I mean is, I think the thing is, James, I can already, let's post the date. So it's the 22nd of March. I think this time next season, there'll be a conversation about have Liverpool replaced Gini Wijnaldum. Oh, we didn't notice how much we needed him before he left. This is what will happen.
You're not replacing him anytime soon.
That's what I'm saying, mate. So we will be like saying, we told you this, and then, you know, lots of rival fans will say, oh, he's easy to be replaced or whatever. I think we'll see it next season. It'll be a nightmare.
He's not easy to be replaced.
He don't run the club, so it's not our place to say it. We can only put an input on it, you know what I mean?
But I think we all know it'll be horrible. It's going to be horrible.
It's like doomsday waiting for us, boys. But anyway, I didn't want to end it on a bad note, but unfortunately we have to. It's not the usual 2-hour show that we usually do, but don't worry. Back on... Wait there, today's Monday, isn't it?
Friday.
Oh, is it Friday today?
It's No, it's Jesus. I'd like to be in your world, mate. If you think it's Friday, I'd love it to be Friday.
Right there. Nah, yeah, I just said it's Monday. I thought someone went, it's Friday.
No, he did.
Yeah.
Nah. Yeah, so today's Monday, which means the next show is going to be on Friday. Because the Friday just gone, we missed the show, so I didn't want to miss tonight either. That being said, we're going to be back with the normal, like, longer shows when it comes to Friday's episode. So make sure you're there. We're going to go live at 9. It's going to be a good show. Boys, thank you for joining me.
Pleasure. Always a pleasure, mate.
Pleasure,
buddy. A good show, the boys. And shout out to everyone in the chat as well. I do see everyone who's contributed. We're going to try and find segments in the show where I can read the comments and whatnot, because I do see a lot of good points that are there. Create a few talking points and a few segues. So I appreciate everyone, man. You all make the stream a lot better. And boys, thank you for joining me once more. Anyway, people, thank you for watching. Smash a like, subscribe.
Smash a like.
Subscribe to Saints LFC TV if you haven't already. There's the name. And Nick is his game. No, football is his game, and Nick is the name. And here we go, because we are insane. Peace out.